happened.
Whenever you wouldn't get something out of my teeth.
Yeah.
Question of the day. How close are your close friends? Are they willing to get things out of your teeth? Are you willing to allow them to get things out of your teeth? Welcome to the Medicare Cafe pre-chat. Welcome. You're joined today by your host. My name's Olivia Richardson.
And I'm Clayton Clemens.
And today we do miss Carrie. I love having Clayton on. I don't want to start off saying that I don't enjoy your presence. But for those of you keeping score, it is Carrie's week, but she qualified for an incentive trip because she's just such a boss. And like she only works 3 days a week because the rest of the time, not to say she doesn't work the other 4 plus 3 equals 7, 4 days a week, but she's a full-time mom during that time. So really proud of her.
Yeah.
Really proud of her. I think they're in South Carolina, North Carolina, and they're within. Why are there 2?
I don't know.
Or North Dakota, South Dakota.
Those are annoy me.
Does someone want to know? Okay, I have 2 questions. 1, would you let your friends pick things out of your teeth? And 2, do we know why there's a North and South?
Dakota.
Yeah,
Carolina.
Dakota, Carolina. What about the Virginia?
West Virginia.
Manamara.
Okay, our brain's the same.
Okay. No. Why?
Your turn.
If you would like
Your turn, YouTube.
If you came here for actual Medicare-related content, you've come to the right place, I assure you. But just give us 2 more minutes while we're on our pre-chat. The pre-chat, not only are we just pure chaos, we could also answer any Medicare questions that you have that may not be related to today's topic. Today's topic is...
Title.
It
is Cafe.
Oh, I didn't put it on there. Today's title of the cafe is things I wish I would have known. Like, what do I wish I would have done early in my career?
Right.
So if you want to text me and ask questions, give comments, tell me why states got their names, or if you would let your friends pick food out of your teeth, this is the text line. You can text me at any time. You can also put it in the live chat feature. We will read those live. If you're watching the recorded version of that, the live chats don't pop up on the recorded version, so it looks like we're just crazy.
Yeah, that doesn't help us at all.
Oh, is the short-term health change a done dealio? Yes, sironi. It sure is. So to answer Brian's question, Brian, shocks me you had a real question and didn't want to comment on how you would take food out of Beachy's teeth.
Well, yeah, I've already picked
eat
some
it.
out of his teeth. So.
But no, so what Brian's referring to is the legislation that passed goes into effect September 1st of this year, which essentially will take us back in time to the, whenever ACA first became a thing and individual short-term medical plans were highly governed. Okay.
Govern's a good word.
Govern's a good word. And so, yes, starting September 1st, a short-term medical plan can only be purchased 3 months at a time with a 1-month extension, and then you cannot renew that plan or that company. So if you're on a United Health 1 plan, you can have that for 3 plans, file the extension for the 4th plan, and then you would have to move to a new company effective that. So you'll have to continue to do that. Way to combat that is you can't, but a way to kind of get your last little elbow in there.
Post 9/1 you can't.
Post 9/1 you can't. So you can go ahead right now. I think we discovered that 3 years right now, short-term medical plans, some of them offer 3-year coverage. If you write them before 9/1, those will be governed in. So you do have the ability to continue to write those for a few more months unless you just are really excited about having to speak to or take applications and re-underwrite your clients every 4 months.
That's the thing that I think got lost in this is like...
Regulated. Yes, Brian. Thank you.
Yes, regulated was another word for it.
Oh, we were actually helpful there. That's disappointing. It's pre-chat. It's chaos.
Yeah.
Did you have more to add?
I don't remember.
Oh, I wasn't there. So anyways...
Underwriting. You're going to have to underwrite them a lot. And that sucks
every
because...
4 months at least.
Yeah, if any time during that they have some health issues, uh-oh.
Yeah, now what? Pool? My aunt and my uncle, I don't think any of my relatives watch this. Why would they? They don't support me. My aunt and my uncle, they recently got divorced. Long time coming. Don't be sad. Very excited about that.
The chaotic energy you're bringing today is wonderful.
And they stayed married longer than what they should have, separated everything else strictly because he went in on her insurance. She's a postal worker, so like she had good insurance.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy, like, what people will do to avoid getting on the ACA, avoid getting all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, we don't feel bad for him. He's
Okay. Yeah.
a bad person.
Meow.
So,
Hope he doesn't watch.
again, I don't get supported. Welcome to the Medicare Cafe. Again, if you are fast forwarding it through, trying to get past the chaos watching the recorded version of this, first of all, you're missing out. That's on you, not me. Be my friend. Second of all, today we are talking about things that we wish, I will say the things that we, when talk to, when we talk to agents,
You got it.
things that they wish they would have known when first starting out.
Whew. It's a hard sentence. It was tough. It's morning.
I'm not even there yet. So this is what we want to talk about. It doesn't matter if you've been in business for 30 days or 30 years. This is what agents need to be successful today. So if you're like, oh, I've been doing this for forever, I don't need to watch this episode. Yes, you do. The industry has shifted and the industry has changed so much in the last 5 years, 10 years, that if you've been doing this for a while, you probably need this more than a veteran, more than a newcomer.
For sure. And kind of like thought process when we were putting this together was we talked to a lot of new agents because, you know, being a training FMO, kind of what we do.
Kind of our thing.
But also the agents that have been in the market, like she's saying, for a long time that are just missing little pieces of things like, oh, yeah, no, I should have been doing that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of those regretful moments that maybe we can prevent somebody from having with today's.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into it. Alrighty. The first thing is actually, like, let's take a minute to look on the business side of owning an agency. There's statistics out there that say that less than 8% of people actually succeed as an insurance agency. It's the easiest, not the easiest way, that insurance test is hard, but the cheapest way to become your own boss. You pay for the test and everything else. So people don't understand when they become an insurance agent, they need to treat themselves like a business. And I say this in every slide, but it's starting with the end in mind. Long story short, do not have your commissions paid to your social security number, aka don't be set up as an individual. If you're going to be selling insurance as anything other than a hobby and one policy a year, then go ahead and set up an LLC or an S Corp.
For sure. That's probably the biggest one that I talked to, like we were saying about the agents that have been in the market for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was always kind of an idea that they wanted to do but never got around to it.
Right.
One, it's so important for your taxes,
Mm-hmm.
being that yesterday was tax day.
Oh,
Did you do it? You
I
good?
did,
You're good? Okay.
but my God, my heart still hurt.
Yeah. Also, the second part of that is just being able to do something with that block of business when you want to move away from the insurance world. So if that's, you want to sell your block of business or you want to pass it along to a beneficiary, a family member,
You want to
whoever.
pass away? That's what you meant.
If you want to pass away, you
I
don't
think
have
at some
to.
point, it's probably like just,
That's a pre-chat.
I don't know, ask an 109-year-old if they're, go ahead.
The other aspect of that is if you're thinking of it like a business from day one and your goal is to build a block, sell it so you can move to your next adventure, the really only way to do that effectively would be to have a corporation to be able to sell that block of business.
Mm-hmm. Nailed it. So get it set up early. What I see happens in the long run, we always encourage agents, do it as early as you can. If you haven't had an S Corp or an LLC, you've been doing this for 10 years, it's not too late. It's just a lot more difficult. You still need to make that transition, but it will require you recontracting with all the carriers. It will require some book of business transitions, and it's likely that at least for the next year, if not even longer, both your individual and your company will be paying taxes on that. You'll be 1099 on your Social Security and 1099 on your tax ID. So just like for the next, until all that business moves over, and some companies will not allow that business to move over from your individual to your corporation, you're just going to have, it's just a bit of a tax nightmare. So it's not too late, but it's better late than never.
For sure.
100%.
And I'll shout out someone in our office that I just love dearly, Kayla, who works on our what we call a book of business team that helps agents with that transition.
For sure.
Because every single carrier has a different process. It's pretty confusing. If you're trying to do it on your own, reach out to your upline. Hopefully they have a Kayla. If not, we have a Kayla. So
if you ever want to add color back into your face, just smack the crap out of yourself.
Is that what happened?
Very aggressive there, but I look very healthy.
Good.
Yes. The other thing I'll mention with this is remember that you do have taxes.
That's a
I
great
think
point.
that's
got 'em.
something you got him. Like, and it's something that like we look at our income and think I look at my commission statement and not even look at my commission statements. I look at my bank account and like that's how much money I made this year. My bank account has more money in it this year than it did last year. I always heard this from somebody who was in insurance forever and ever. There are 2 deaths to a sales insurance agent. Number 1 is taxes and number 2 one is being underinsured. So, like, again, just reminding yourself, if you're not paying quarterly, making sure that you are not bankrupting yourself because you forgot
They
that
rope your money.
taxes exist. The IRS would be a lot more funny if they were cowboys.
If they like rode up on horses and
Yeah.
yo, it's taxes partner.
Honestly, that seems more scary, and I don't want that anymore.
Horse cops are scary.
Horse cops are scary.
Yeah, because a horse can kick you in the face.
That's true.
Wow.
And plus, I can steal a cop car. I can't steal a horse.
No.
They seem very loyal.
The most loyal of horse, the cop horse.
Cop horse. This is again the other thing that I think a lot of people I would highly recommend start early. Oh, Brad Herman asked. Let me get back here because you guys want to see my freshly smacked face. Brad asked, what carriers don't allow the transfer? I will say a lot of carriers do not allow a book of business transfer from individual to a corporation, Mutual of Omaha being one of the top ones that we work with. But if you have any concerns about that, if you are either training to transition your own business, you're looking to buy somebody else's business, or you're looking to sell to somebody, always call us first. Because if you have somebody that does, especially if you're buying or selling, if you have an organization do like a review or like what's it called whenever I see the evaluation. When they do an evaluation, they never take that into consideration, what will actually move. They only look at the commissions that transfer over, not the servicing status. So keep that in mind. Oh, Greg, 3 years into the business and thanks to you all, and I'm an LLC set up, all recontracted, and now the final changeover. It's been no easy task. Greg, let me tell you, it's not, but it's so worth it. So I'm glad that we were able to help you through that process. I'm sure you worked with Kayla a lot on that. I'm glad we were able to help you with that because, yeah, it's for sure. It's a bear. If you don't do it first thing when getting contracted and licensing, it's a bear to do it, but you have to do it. Okay, going back to this one. Branding. This is the one that I think a lot of agents struggle with, especially when you're starting out. Again, you have to start with the end in mind. What I think is that whenever people start trying to build their social media presence, build their website, what a lot of people, or build their marketing pieces, they talk about, my name's Olivia Richardson, I am an agent, I am the best person to work with you, you should work with me, everybody else is really worthless and cannot do the job as well. When you grow your agency, whether that means that you bring on administrative teams to help you or you start adding downline staff, you need to make sure that your marketing and your branding include the continuation of yourself, aka your agency. So focusing on saying, Olivia Richardson Agency or Agency of the Netherlands agency, and you can focus on your agency name so that the trust that comes with you is also including the people that will help your business grow, your downline and your admin team. Seems kind of weird to start off, but because you're talking about yourself in third person.
Yeah.
But it does help you in the long haul.
It for sure does. And some of those Facebook posts that we see have a lot of interactions or a lot of love shared on there is kind of the bragging on your teammates.
Oh, I have a dirty camera. Dirty in the sense of it's clean.
Yeah, okay.
I'm taking a picture.
Okay.
Because I love the comments.
Oh,
and I want to show them to Kayla.
Heck yeah. I love Kayla. But sharing and bragging about your teammates, aka Olivia taking a picture of the chat here for Kayla. Because you're building that relationship with everybody in your agency, working with that client, they want to be as comfortable calling you as they are calling in and your admin staff picking up the phone. They want that same level of trust.
Yes. Well, and again, it's also considering too, starting off early, reminding yourself, especially with admin team, especially with your brand, you get what you pay for. I've worked with a lot of agencies that when they first start to grow, they just I can hire this person. They were willing to work for $10 an hour. They were willing to work for $12 an hour. Yada, yada, yada. And that didn't work out, and it was very damaging to their brain because they have these people in incredibly important roles like front office, receptionists, appointment setters. Your first impression of an office is that person sitting at the front. So just understanding, like, you get what you pay for, and the earlier you can figure that out, particularly anything that can negatively affect your brand, it's really worth making those investments in.
For sure. And you might not necessarily start off with that admin person, but that's why it's important to talk about your agency. So it sounds like maybe a year, 2 years down the road, whenever you do have the capability to hire admin staff, that it's kind of seamless. Like they assume that that person's been with you a while, kind of builds a backlog of credibility for them because they're part of the agency.
Yeah. And when somebody, it's why it's the same reason as a tangent. Hello. It's the same reason we say when you're new, it's really, and you haven't built that credibility, you haven't built that brand, really lean hard on the carrier branding, because the if they're familiar with the carrier and you represent that carrier, then that trust kind of transfers through. So it's the same thing. If they trust the agency, anybody under that umbrella is included in that trust.
For sure.
The next thing, I kind of put this on here, marketing part 2 is that you need to, agents who are starting out really struggle in this. They want to say, and I understand that, you got to make money tomorrow, right? So when they build marketing plans, they think of purely prospecting, which is, how do I get one more application by the end of this week? How do I get one more appointment, one more application? How do I feed my family tomorrow? What you cannot overlook, especially when you're starting out, is the marketing, which is the brand building. The earlier you can build your brand, the earlier you can encompass this trust that we were just talking about, the earlier you'll be able to lessen your reliance on leads, and you'll be able to get into the fun side of selling, which is building yourself in the community, building those relationships.
Yeah, and I think part of that is just keeping focused on something we talk about a lot with like a 3-pronged marketing approach. And having a couple be focused on how am I going to get some apps tomorrow, but make sure at least one of them is driving towards that. I want to be in the business 30 years. I want to make sure that this brand is built where everybody in my community knows about it going forward. They come to me for questions. But if you put all your eggs in that basket, then your income dries up very fast, and you say, what do I do?
Exactly. Like, if all of you're doing is the networking, the community stuff, the volunteering, people know who you are, but you won't keep your doors open long enough to actually service them because you'll starve. You need to be taking applications. So you're absolutely right. Your marketing plan needs to have you writing business tomorrow, but keeping your doors open in 30 years. That's what the perfect marketing plan looks like.
For sure. I was actually just met with an agent last week that he's just getting starting fresh, no book of business he's working off of. And it was very much, okay, let's get you a couple paths that we can get some apps quickly, kind of get going with everything. And then let's set up a referral network. Let's talk about doing some seminars and more that long-term play also. But that was his day one plan. Like, let's get going on it to make it a thing for years. But also, I just left my job and I need money. So let's talk about how we get some business going.
For sure. I did get a question. I'm glad someone asked about it. It's the elephant in the room. She was asking if we were going to actually be talking about the new CMS regulations at the end. So I am happy to answer any questions you may have on the new CMS regulations, the new CMS ruling that came out a couple Thursdays ago. The idea of that, though, is that there's still, it's so funny. I hate that they call it the final rule, because we actually have one more thing to publish here in the next 6 weeks that actually finalize what those extra rules are. So what they published a couple weeks ago was the clarifications, basically saying when we say X, we mean Y. When we said this, we mean that. Then we have a period, usually it's about a couple days. I think our compliance officer, Chainley, mentioned is about 6-week period this time, to where they can actually have more clarifying questions being asked and have more concrete documentation. And here around that time, the 1,327 page document that we're talking about from a couple weeks ago will come down to about 30 pages. So I can answer questions, but nothing is set in stone. Nothing is like finalized yet. But I'm happy to answer questions about what is the clarifying rules that came out in the last couple weeks.
One of my favorite things, at least from last year with all the compliance changes, was it went from thousands of pages down to 30, down to what we had, like a quick frequently asked questions sheet. Whereas like these are the things we actually need to know and pay attention to.
How does this affect me as an agent?
Yeah, because there's
Right?
a lot in there, but
Yes.
it's definitely something that will be summarized here in the coming weeks.
The last thing that we wanted to bring to your attention is, and again, happy to answer questions, but I don't really, don't want to waste your time because it's not truly finalized yet. So, yes. The last area we want to talk about, things we wish we knew early as being an agent, is just right here. Just being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. I think veteran agents really struggle with this, and for good reason. I've done this the entire time. Look how successful I am. If it's what not broke, why fix it?
For sure.
The industry has changed so much. Medicare has changed so much. The consumer needs have changed so much. If you haven't changed your sales style, your benefit packages, your actual sales technique, your fact finding, if you haven't changed that or at least looked at that in the past 5 years even, then you're selling in an outdated, unsafe way.
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest hurdle that I deal with a lot. I talk a lot about cross-selling. I talk a lot about cancer insurance, as you all know. And one of the biggest hurdles is the agents have been doing it this certain way forever and wanting to try to integrate something new, and it makes it that much harder to get going. And that's kind of where we wanted to come at it with this point was, from the beginning, if you're offering that benefit package or talking about all the different risks that are out there, it makes it a part of your sales style for life versus having to try to correct something to add in additional products that other agents are going to be offering your clients, but you want to be their person and you don't want them to leave because you weren't offering them a dental plan or a cancer insurance plan. And the more products you have with them, the stickier the client. So it's going to help you in the long run, especially if you're starting out today, because we all know renewals. I hear McVeigh say it all the time. Medicare is not a get rich quick; it's get rich slow.
But it's get rich.
Yeah.
Like it is a get rich, but it's not an overnight. You won't lose it overnight because you're not gaining it overnight.
For sure. And retention is going to be the way to build that slow growth where you're going to hit that income that you want. So it's really important to make sure your retention strategies, as far as selling go, are set up properly from your day one.
I think what it comes down to is, as a new agent, understanding that you will never feel, or you should never allow yourself to feel satisfied in the performance and what you're doing. You should always be looking for the next thing. For example, again, looking at the final rule, we're all going to have to become really comfortable with being our own lead generation, being our own lead source. If you're not familiar with how to use Facebook for lead generation, if you're not familiar with doing seminars and networking and things like that, if you're uncomfortable with that because you've bought leads, your FMO gives you leads, that's what you've always done, then you're not going to survive this next transition, because you're either your lead funnels are going to dry up, or they're going to become incredibly expensive for you. So it's not just lead generation, not just cross-selling. We talked about this e-apps. Agents who are unwilling, looking at COVID. I know we always look back at COVID, but it was such a defining moment. So many agents left the industry then, and some of them involuntarily couldn't afford to feed their families because they were unwilling to switch to a virtual option during COVID-19. 2020 came and went. The fear tactics went down. People weren't scared anymore, but people loved the convenience of non-face-to-face meetings. Agents who said, we're just going to hang tight, we're not going to do that, I'm a face-to-face shop through and through, never made that transition over, they're hurting. And a lot of them aren't in the market because they're unwilling to try something new, unwilling to adapt to today's market. So as a new agent, just get it in your head now. You will constantly have to be changing, constantly have to be shifting, constantly having to be trying new things in order to stay up to date with the ever-changing market.
Yeah, and I can always respect an agent's preference of wanting to do a paper app.
Of course.
But also you should more so respect the client's wants and needs.
Not about how you want to buy, it's how they want to reverse that. Not about how you want to sell, it's how they want to buy.
Yeah, if they want to do an e-app or they don't feel like coming in, I know I come off as very extroverted some days, but I'm pretty introverted. I want to stay home as often as I possibly can.
In my fuzzy blanket.
Yeah. So I want to be able to do anything that would take me to go to an appointment or go to a store, and how can I get that to come to me? It's the convenience factor. It's Amazon Prime runs my life.
Same, girl. Same.
That's definitely something you want to make sure that you're doing, is taking care of your clients the way they want to be taken care of.
Just being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yes. That is all we have for today, guys. That is our conversation. I did want to let you all know that if anybody is going to be attending Medicare Con next week in Las Vegas, I will be attending that as well. Senior Marketing Specialist will have a booth there, so come say hi. It'll be a really exciting time to get to see everybody, get to be face-to-face with all my friends. So if you are going to be there, come say hi to me. Any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, let us know. Again, if you want any of the clarifying questions on that final ruling, let me know. But yeah, again, you can shoot me a text. This is my phone number. You can text me at any time and I will try to answer it. Or, of course, if you comment on this page, if you're watching the recorded version and you're commenting on the YouTube video, you're able to do that as well. Do you have any final thoughts or words or wisdom? I didn't think so. So until next...
I don't.
Oh. Well, now I feel mean.
Nope.
Now I feel mean.
There's a flask back there. I'm going to go real quick.
There is a flask back here. If anybody ever wanted to know the story, this shelf, it's full of cafe, of just coffee mugs. I also have 2 boxes over there full of even more coffee mugs, and there's some even in my office. Medicare Cafe used to do coffee mugs exchange. This one right here was the one that we used to exchange. We also had different variations of that one. And we used to say, if you send us a mug, we'll send you one back. If you guys be interested in doing that, maybe we'll start that back up again. But I have hundreds of coffee mugs I've been doing this since 2016. So yeah, Medicare Cafe is the longest standing weekly broadcast surrounding for agents in the Medicare field. The longest lasting. We've been doing this for 8 years.
Can I show them my favorite one?
You can show me your favorite one. That's your favorite?
There's a seal on it. And it makes me happy. I am a huge aquarium nerd.
Oh
and
my God, you're
the
just
seals
a
and
nerd.
otters are my favorite.
I love it. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. So let me make sure no more texts. Awesome. Okay. So until next time, guys, have fun.
Make money
and give impeccable